I think the most powerful instrument to restrict the mobility of African Americans in the aftermath of the Civil War was Jim Crow segregation, designating white space from black space to prevent the interaction of white and black and to restrict the mobility of African Americans.
Jim Crow, first of all, is a nickname because Jim Crow was a character in the earliest minstrel shows, always played by a white man in blackface. So Jim Crow was the nickname that people gave to all of these laws and all of these customs that governed how people interacted, both publicly and privately. Jim Crow wasn't completely rigid, but what it did say was that in all kinds of environments that white people were in one group and everybody else was in a lower group.
The way the Jim Crows worked was that it was in fact a way of creating separation between the races and to remind individuals that you are not of the same equality, of the same ilk as others in that circumstance.
Jim Crow serves another purpose, which is it takes away the dignity of African Americans. And it takes away the trappings of respect and of human dignity from people when they're in public places, when they're traveling.
African Americans were really met with tremendous resistance about where they would sit on trains. They had to sit in what was known as the Jim Crow car.
For example, in trains, what you would have would be a black car or a colored car, where you would have to, as that person of color, sit in that car as opposed to other places in the train.
We had to ride in the first car behind the engine that was smoking in the fumes and things. We rode in that one.
And when you travel, the windows pulled down tightly. If you opened it, the whole car was filled with soot.
African Americans, regardless of their class status, regardless of their educational level, had to sit in the smoking car, even when they had purchased a first class ticket.
If you're a black traveler, you don't just buy your ticket and get on the train and enjoy it and go where you want to go, or get on the bus and go where you want to go. It is fraught at every turn. Will you be safe? Will you be harassed? And people just get tired of it.
W.E.B. Du Bois talked about the wages of whiteness. And by that he meant that white identity historically in the United States was constructed in such a way to claim or to monopolize access to certain resources and opportunities and spaces in American history. And by creating that hierarchy, and by creating policies of exclusion and segregation, it did affect a kind of a psychic wage to be white and to know that